Hey, what's going on? My name's Tim Williams. We're here to break down today's 9-game MLB DraftKings slate. If you're new to the channel, my name's Tim. Welcome. I've been breaking down these MLB slates over on DraftKings. We got a nice 9-game slate here with some great pitching and pretty good weather, actually. So let's just dive right in. First game we have here, we have the Yankees taking on the Orioles, 9 over under here. You have Devi Garcia called up, making the start, and then you got Harvey on the other side for the Orioles. Not interested in Harvey at 5-3, although he has been pitching slightly better than the beginning of the season. And then for the Yankees, Garcia, I think he's going to get some ownership. I don't think I'm going to get there today. Not on this slate with some of the good pitching options, but 7,100, he has decent strikeout upside here. I think he walks guys as well, but he also gives up the long ball. So I definitely have some interest on the Orioles bats. But we'll start with the Yankees here. You know, they haven't been hitting great, 29th in average, 22nd in on base percentage. They are hitting home runs. Guys in play, and what I think will be more popular on this slate will be Judge at 5.9 and Stanton at 4.9K. I think they're fine spend ups, and I think the right hand bats are fine, but I'm definitely more interested in the left hand bats, which the Yankees don't have a lot of. But Odor at 3.1, you know, he might strike out 4 times. You might hit you 2 home runs. So you never know what you're going to get out of him. And Hicks is kind of in play at 3.3K because he's so cheap. However, he is day to day. And then on the Orioles side, I definitely have interest in the left handed bats. Mainly in Mullins and Stewart. If they're in play, Stewart sometimes hits in the 3-4 hole at 2.8K, I think is great. Mullins can lead off 3.5K. I think the Orioles are going to kind of go under owned here. Mancini at 4.4, Mountcastle at 3.4K. If you're trying to go for a full stack, I think are in play as well. Next, you have the Cubs Braves, 8.5 over under. You got Davies taking on Morton. Not really interested in Davies. I don't care what his price is. He hasn't been pitching that great. Morton at 8K, I think, presents you some pretty good value. I don't think you're going to find a better pitcher under 8K, so I think he's definitely in play. We know the Cubs can strike out a lot. They're 5th in strikeouts, 26 in average. So I think it's a good spot for Morton at home. The only Cubs bet I am interested in is Rizzo, left-handed bat, 4.1K. And then on the Braves side, definitely some power upside here, 4th in home runs. Freeman at 6K. He's definitely a little bit pricey, but I think he's the best bat, one of the better bats on the slate. Albies at 5.3, kind of pricey. Acuna at 6.2K is always in play. I think DraftKings did a pretty good job pricing up these Braves bats. I think they're in the best spot on this whole slate. So I'm definitely interested in maybe some of the cheapy bats on the Braves. But next we have the A's taking on the Rays. 8.5 over under. A's are favorited here. Manaea at 7.8K, I think is an okay play. I think there's just better spend ups here. And then Hill taking the mound for the Rays, 6.8K, not interested there. The A's have been pretty hot. They finally lost. They're on like a 13-game winning streak. Lost yesterday. I definitely have some interest in the right-handed bats, 4th in home runs. So that looks appealing to me. I don't think you have to stack them, but Chapman at 4.9K, Canha at 4.1, Laureano at 4.5K. I love that. Piscotty for some savings at 3K. I think you can get to at least one of those guys for some power upside. And then on the Rays side, I'm interested in some of the right-hand bats. Rosarena, 4.3K, Diaz at 3.3K, Margot, 2.7. Brosseau at 3.5K. He hits lefties pretty well. I would not probably go with a full stack here, but maybe a one-off if I really need a cheap bat and to kind of offset some salary, like Margot's in play. Next, we have the Marlins Brewers. Probably some of my favorite pitching by far, 6.5 over under. So I definitely don't have any interest in the bats here. But on the Marlins, you got Rogers taking on Burns. Burns is definitely a Cy Young candidate early on, 10.4K. I'll pay that anytime for him. Rogers at 8.4K has tons of upside. This guy strikes out a lot of guys. He's taking on a Brewers lineup that is not very good, 7th in strikeouts. I think this game's just going to have that like 1-0, 2-1 kind of feel. So Rogers definitely in play. The only concern with him is he can walk guys at a high rate. But I think just the matchup's too good. So definitely interest in both pitchers, no interest in bats. Next, you have the Phillies taking on the Cardinals. Phillies slight favorite here, 8 over under. This is the weather game that is the best on the slate. The wind is definitely blowing out at like 15 miles an hour. So I'm definitely interested in these bats, especially if people are going to look at the Braves and they're going to look at the Yankees. I think this hopefully will have some sneaky value to it, but probably won't. Wheeler taking on Wainwright. Wheeler at 9K, maybe just a little too pricey for me. And then Wainwright at 7.2. I'm not going to get there. It's not a lot of upside. Phillies look pretty good, sixth in average, ninth in on base percentage. Definitely in play here. Some of those left-handed bats. Harper at 5.7, I love. Miller at 3.2K. Gregorius, I think, will go very low owned at 4.5K if you want to take a shot on him. And then McCutchen, I know he's a right-handed bat, 3.8K. I will say he has a 282 batting average and 71 at bats versus Wainwright with 2 home runs. So that's at least somewhat intriguing. And then on the Cardinals side, they've been hitting pretty well too. I think just overall, like Arenado and Goldschmidt are fairly cheap, both under 5K. I think the Cardinals might be kind of popular here. Edman, I like to get different at 4.4K. Carlson at 3.3K. He might go a little over owned, but he's definitely interesting. And then Jejong, I know he's a righty, but 4K, he's 3 for 6 with 2 home runs, albeit a very small sample size, but those look good against Wheeler. Next, you have the Angels taking on the Rangers. Angels away, favorited, 8.5 over under. Ohtani on the mound at 7.7K, I think is very interesting. You know, the strikeout upside is there. Like you just saw Michael Kopech go 5 innings and strike out 10 Rangers the other day. Ohtani has definitely a high ceiling as far as strikeouts go. However, he walks a lot of guys. So I definitely have interest in him. If I'm playing like 1 to 3 lineups, I don't think maybe I'll go there, but definitely interesting for sure. I don't know how long he's going to last either. And then Lyles on the other side for the Rangers, no interest there. Angels hitting wise, looking pretty good. It looks like they're going to get Trout back today, 6.3K, very good spend up here. Upton looks good at 3.6. Walsh, I like 4.3. Pujols has been hitting the ball very well at 3.6. And then Schebler, if you want to just take a shot or you just need some salary relief, 2.8K. I think I'll go get some ownership. And then on the other side, Rangers, I like the left-handed bats here. Gallo at 3.9K, Lau at 4.2K, Dahl at 3.2, Calhoun 2.9. I wouldn't necessarily stack this team. Ohtani is very good, and the Angels bullpen's okay. But I definitely think you want to take a shot on one of these power bats for sure. If anything, Ohtani might walk 5 guys or whatever. So Rangers bats intrigue me a little bit. So definitely in play. Next, you have the Mariners and the Astros, 9 over under. You have Sheffield taking on Urquidy. No real interest in the pitching here. Maybe Urquidy, but with that salary, it's like I'd rather just pay out for Rogers. Mariners bats, not really in play for me. They strike out at a high clip. Yes, they were hot against Boston, but there's just plenty of other spots. I do like the Seager matchup, though. 4.4K is decent. And then on the Astro side, we know what they can do. It looks like they're going to get Altuve back, but, first day back from the DL, and I'm not really interested in him. But the other guys I really like here, Bregman at 5K, Correa at 5.4. And then you get to that lefties, who actually can hit left-handed pitching. Alvarez, Tucker, I like a lot. And then Gurriel, hopefully will go under owned here, 4.6K. He's been on fire. I like his matchup a lot. The Astros are just priced up pretty well. Not as much as like the Braves if you're trying to full stack there, but again, with the Astros and the Phillies, I really think maybe those stacks will go kind of under owned in today's slate. And then next you have the Rockies and the Giants, 7.5 over under. Giants at home favorited. You have Gomer taking on DeSclafani. No real interest in the pitching here. On the Rockies side, they've been hitting the ball a little bit better as of late. A lot of cheap bats, and that's probably the only reason why I would get to any would be Blackman at 4K, McMahon at 4.8, Story at 4.8, which is crazy. The prices are very low, so it definitely interests me. There's just so much going on in this slate. I don't think I'll get there, but definitely in play. And then on the Giants side, taking on a lefty, we love that. Definitely in play here. Longoria at 4.1, Slater at 3.5, Posey at 3.8, Flores at 3.7 looks great. Ruff at 3K. Definitely some really cheap bats here. The Giants are 4th overall in home runs. I really like this spot for them. So definitely interested in that Giants side. And then last but not least, you have the Reds taking on the Dodgers, 7 over under here. I like some bats in this one. I don't think I would get to any full stacks, but Molly taking on Urias. I like both of these pitchers. Just think they're a little bit too expensive and they have tough matchups on both sides. Reds are hitting the ball very well, fifth in average, fifth in on base percentage, first in home runs. Guys in play, if I maybe just needed a one-off here, Castellanos at 6.1K will probably have little to no ownership. Suarez at 4.9 looks okay. And then Winker at 4.2, he can actually hit lefties fairly well. And then on the Dodgers side, you can definitely take your shot at Urias, but I think I'm going to go elsewhere. And then, we know what the Dodgers can do. Obviously, one of the best hitting teams in baseball. So Seager's definitely in play for me at 5.1K. I think that's really too cheap. So I like his matchup. And then Muncy as well, 4.7K. He's just been, unreal. I think he walked 5 times last night. I like the matchup. Molly not as very efficient against left-handed bats. So those are the two I think that are mostly in play for me. That is it. Hope this video helped you. My name's Tim. Like this video, subscribe if you want to hear more daily DFS content. Well, I'll be breaking down all of these main slates over on DraftKings. So really appreciate it. Take it easy. Best of luck and have a great day.